don't recommend grading with any of them. It's usually worth 5 to 10, 15x. Everyone has this misconception when you grade a card, it's worth more than a raw card no matter what. Hey legends, what I'm about to teach you took me 7 hard long years of work. I've made and lost money in those years, and I wish I knew what I'm about to teach you guys. Pokemon can seem like it's impossible to get into when people are throwing words around like EX, VMAX, Ultra, SIR, PSA, BGS, and base set. And you're standing there like, am I supposed to know what any of this means? In this video, I'll explain Pokemon from absolute zero. What it is, how the card works, how collecting works, and how to start without wasting money. Pokemon started in Japan in 1996 and is also a trading card game. You've definitely heard about Pokemon either in the video games, the merchandise that your kids have wanted you to buy, the TV shows, the movies, the trading card game, and even on the news. The shows are exactly like our day-to-day life. There's a trainer, there's a Pokemon, just like we have owners and pets. Why I think Pokemon is so popular, it brings family together. It's something that they can both enjoy, they can both relate to. Me personally, I open up Pokemon packs with my kids, and that brings back the nostalgia when I was a kid and I opened up Pokemon with my family. The other reason why Pokemon is so popular is the constant release of new games, new TV shows, new movies, new trading cards, and new merchandise. You would have also seen multi-million-dollar cards and asked yourself, why are they so expensive? These are the 3 reasons why some Pokemon cards are so expensive. Number 1 is it's printed in very small numbers, and once it's printed, it never comes back, which makes people want it more, and that's why the prices keep going up. Number 2 is the availability of certain Pokemon cards which you can only get from tournaments, Pokemon Center, or even promos that only come in certain Pokemon products. Number 3 is the cards being pulled have extremely low odds, which makes it desirable for collectors and investors. Very important to know if you want to get into collecting Pokemon is Pokemon cards have different rarities with different symbols. The different type of rarities, I'll start from the bottom. You have common, has a circle, which is very easy to pull. Then you have the uncommon, which is a diamond, which is once again very easy to pull. And then you have the rare, which is a star, which is a bit harder to pull. Then you have the holo variant, which has the shiny artwork and has a star on it as well. Then you have reverse holos where the background is shiny, not the Pokemon. Then you have ultra rares where you have EX, GX, Vs, and VMAXs. This has much lower pull rates than the commons, uncommons, holos, and reverse holos. Then you have full art Pokemon, full art trainers, which the whole card is textured and is much more desirable than your holos, EXs, and reverse holos. Then we have secret rares. This is where it starts to get good and collectors' eyes open up. To know if you have a secret rare, the card number is higher than the set number. Secret rares are gold, rainbow, and specially textured cards. Then we have illustration rares where it has beautiful artwork and it has Pokemon in scenes. For example, we have the Bulbasaur from 151 where you have the Pokemon and the background being the forest. Then we have the most sought after rarity, special illustration rares where the Pokemon and the background has highly detailed artwork. You will definitely know when you get a special illustration rare. For example, you have the Moonbryon Chase, which is the Umbreon reaching for the moon. Then you have special cards which only come from tournaments, events, and promo cards that only come from special boxes. Then you have the special trophy and prize cards, which is only given at events like the PSA 10 Pikachu illustrator from Logan Paul. Then you have the promo cards, for example, like the Eevee from Prismatic Evolutions, which you can only get from the ETB and it can't be pulled. Then we have the promos that only come in special boxes, and lucky last, which is the best and most sought after for collectors, is the classic and older rarity type cards. For example, you got first edition, Shadowless, Shiny Pokemon, Gold Stars, and Crystal Pokemon. These are some of the most valuable cards that's ever made in history. Now let's talk about Pokemon sets and what they are. Each set has a name. For example, Evolving Skies, which they also have a set symbol which is down the bottom on the left next to the set number. Then lucky last, we have the chase cards, in sets, which is the most desirable for collectors, which they chase by opening packs and hoping to pull them and put it into their collection. Examples of well-known sets: Base Set, Hidden Fates, Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, and Brilliant Stars. There's two types of sets, the first one being main sets like Fusion Strike, Phantasmal Flames, Evolving Skies, which have booster boxes, ETBs, collection boxes, booster bundles. The second type of set you have is special sets, which they don't have booster boxes. That is the most common thing between main sets and special sets. Like Prismatic, it only comes in ETBs, collection boxes, booster bundles, and does not come in booster boxes. Pokemon did originate in Japan, then came to America in English. So when Pokemon release sets, it comes out in Japanese, and then it comes out in English, and then we got Korean, Chinese, and all the other languages around the world. The one thing about Chinese that is very unique to every other language is there is Chinese exclusive cards, which means it only comes out in Chinese. You will not find it in Japan, in English, in Spanish, Korean. It's only Chinese exclusive cards, which makes Chinese a very popular language and high demand in 2026. Not all languages in Pokemon are priced the same, and let me explain why. We got English. English is usually the most expensive, the hardest to get to, and one of the hardest things to get retail, which puts the premium up way more and the print runs are way less. Then we have Japanese, which is much easier to get, bigger print runs, and essentially cheaper than English. Then we have Chinese, which is essentially cheaper than English. It can sometimes be the same price as Japanese, or less, or higher, depending if the Chinese set has a Chinese exclusive artwork. Now that we explained what Pokemon is, the rarities, the sets, the languages, now you need to understand the difference between a raw card and a graded card, and why raw cards are worth less than some graded cards, not all. The definition of grading is when a grading company looks at a raw card and they give it a score from 1 to 10, and that score is determined by the centering of the card, the corners of the card, the surface of the card, and the edges. Everyone has this misconception: when you grade a card, it's worth more than a raw card no matter what. For example, let me explain. When you send a card to grading, let's use PSA as an example. When you get it back, a PSA 10 is usually worth more than the raw value of a card. PSA 9s are usually the same price as a raw, a bit less or a bit more depending on the card. Then you got PSA 8s and 7s and even less, which sometimes are worth less than the raw value of a graded card. And I'll tell you which cards you should be sending to grading later on in the video. Now that we've covered the basic stuff of Pokemon, let's get into collecting and investing. In collecting legends, buy what you love, have an emotional connection to your collection. If the value of your collection goes up, it's a bonus, it's not a goal. And the most important, enjoy the hobby, enjoy the packs, opening the packs, collecting it, making master sets. It's not about money. Now let's talk about investing mindset. Buy what others will love later. Emotions are dangerous. Opening packs equals destroying value. And the most important, patience is key. No one posts online the negatives, the times they've lost. They only post the good times when they've made money. So don't go into this expecting everything to be a win, a profit, and never a loss. It does happen occasionally. Don't go into this thinking it's quick money and investing into Pokemon, it's gonna pay your bills. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. You need to invest, patience, and eventually it could be paying your bills. If you're investing, pick a lane and stick with it. My favorite is sealed. Sealed is when a Pokemon product is sealed, it's in a collection box, it's got the booster packs inside, and then it's wrapped with the Pokemon wrapping on the outside, and it's just the box of the product. And that's the safest in my opinion. It has the slowest growth, but over long periods of time, it's the best for investment purposes. Singles are a little bit more difficult because there's way more out there of singles than sealed cards. And then another thing is you gotta know how to look at a raw, know what to buy, for what purpose, whether it's for grading, reselling, putting in your collection. It's much harder to understand raws, because not every single raw card is worth the same money just because it's the same artwork. They vary depending on condition. Last on the agenda is grading. There's two different type of ways to go with grading. Is you buy and sell graded slabs, which is safer and much easier in my opinion, because you know what you're buying. A 10 is a 10. The other option with grading, with investing, is finding raws to send to PSA to get PSA 10s. That I do not recommend as a new investor, because you got to have the eye for knowing what raws to buy, what to send, because a PSA 10 is what you're aiming for. If you get anything less, in my opinion, it's not worth investment wise, because PSA 9 and less are usually the same value and less, never more. You may ask where to find deals on slabs. Number one would be conventions. Number two would be eBay. eBay is one of the biggest platforms to buy, sell, find deals. Don't underestimate eBay. eBay, you have buyer's protection, so don't be worried about getting scammed, not getting what you paid for, and at the same time, you got seller's protection for being scammed. And another thing with eBay, if you buy anything that's vintage and is very expensive, eBay does have an authentication system where it goes from the seller, it gets authenticated, then after it gets authenticated, then it goes to the consumer that bought the slab. So it's very safe with eBay. With conventions, you have to be aware, and you always have to do your own research and always refer back to eBay solds, no matter what the vendor is. And another thing as well with conventions, search their company name or their name on socials and see what they're about. The more research you do is always better. The less research you do has more risk. So always refer to eBay solds to evaluate a card, a raw, a sealed item, and don't just go off the vendor or someone you met at the convention. Do your own research. That is key. We touched a bit about grading. Now I'm going to get into grading a bit deeper. Let's start with the first one, PSA. It's the safest to invest in, and all the collectors know PSA, and it's been around the longest. Number two is BGS. BGS is known for its uniqueness with the black label, and with the black label, it's usually worth 5 to 10, 15x what a PSA 10 would be worth, or any other 10 from any other grading company. Number three, we got CGC, which has a uniqueness to it as well, and I think a lot of collectors are starting to collect CGC and starting to like the brand. The uniqueness to it is the pristine 10s with a gold label, which personally, I like the gold part to it compared to a PSA 10. But don't get me wrong, PSA 10 is always the better investment. And lucky last, which is the new popular among old school collectors, is Tag. Reason being is, Tag is the most consistent grading company because they use AI and they give you a full report of why the card got a 10, why it got a 9, a description of exactly why you got the grade. But Tag can easily be replaced if PSA, BGS or CGC did AI grading, then that would change the game for Tag. Overall, my opinion, to do with grading, stick to PSA. Everyone knows PSA. There's a lot of controversy around it, but at the end of the day, it's the most valuable, it's the easiest to sell. I'm talking from experience. BGS will be second, CGC will be third, and Tag would be last. And then you got all the other companies that around the world, like the Australian ones, whatever. I don't recommend grading with any of them, in my opinion. How to start collecting today knowing nothing about Pokemon. Number one, go to your local retailers. Buy anything that's retail for investment purposes, no matter what it is. In Pokemon, it always goes up. Even the stuff that no one wants, like the decks, and even the sets that aren't popular, over time Pokemon always goes up. It doesn't matter with sealed, no matter what the set is or if no one wants it. Number two, which is a must do being a new collector, is conventions with trading cards, especially the Pokemon ones. Go to conventions where you can compare 10 different vendors, 10 different prices for the same things. Go to eBay solds, look at what vendors have things priced at, look at what vendors have in stock, what they're selling, how they're selling it. Going to conventions is everyone has a variety of everything. They have sealed, raws, slabs, the whole lot. It's very rare you go to a convention and you see a vendor with only one thing. Always refer back to eBay solds, because be aware, Vendors don't always have your best interests. Remember, they're there to make money. Number 3 as well, if you know nothing about Pokemon, play the game. No matter what you buy it on, just play it. On your phone, you got Pokemon Go. Just to understand it, you don't have to play it and spend all the hours and try and get all the Pokemon. Just understand it to understand what Pokemon is about. Essentially, Pokemon is, it's got a trainer, it's got a Pokemon, just like in real life. You got an owner and you got a pet. It's kind of like the same concept, and I believe that's why Pokemon is so popular. Number 4 and the last on the list, which I recommend, is tune into a rip and ship, which is essentially where people go online, they watch a streamer, you buy the product, they rip it for you, and they ship it. It's literally in the name, rip and ship. So they open it for you. So first of all, they source the product. You don't have to go looking for it. They rip it for you, they put it in sleeves, top loaders, and it gets sent out to you. But when you first start collecting, I don't recommend to straight away buy from rip and shippers. Watch them, ask the questions. Remember, at the end of the day, they're experts in the hobby. Ask the questions, it's free, you don't have to pay for it. And if a rip and shipper gets annoyed from the questions, just move on to the next one. Let's use an example of me, TCG Kings. I do rip and ship. There's a lot of giveaways, a lot of information, a lot of community. It's like a little family that we have where everyone, pretty much every day, they watch, and there's a lot of knowledge, and you literally, the way I like rip and ships, and the reason why I think it's very important, is it's like a little family that you're a part of. Instead of collecting by yourself at home, opening packs, you're opening it with a group of people that you don't know from a bar of soap, but the friendship that you build and the community that you build with them is unmatched. How to start investing today in Pokemon, and these are the key points. Number 1, sealed is king and the key to investing in Pokemon. No sealed means no investing. In my opinion, sealed is the safest and the best way to go about it, because over time with sealed, it always goes up in value. However, with sealed, you have to be careful with reseals. Even if you're getting it from a retailer, from the store like Target, Kmart, and all that stuff, doesn't matter. You can still get reseals. I'll tell you an example of how I ended up being a victim of a scam of a resealed box on stream years and years ago. I bought a Japanese booster box. We opened it. It's like the Logan Paul story. I can't remember what was in it, but we opened the box. It did not have Pokemon. Actually, now I remember. It had Dragon Ball Z cards in a Pokemon box. It was so embarrassing. My face went tomato, and yeah, I was a victim of being scammed with resealed boxes and packs. So be careful out there. Buy sets with popular demand and has popular chase card Pokemons like Umbreon, Charizard, Eevees, Gengar, Pikachu. Usually over long periods of time, they're the sets that end up being the most valuable in an era. Best time to buy is on release for retail at the shops like Targets, Kmart's, EB Games, Walmart, Costco, GameStop. Don't buy into hype and buy pre-orders before sets come out, because usually they're way overpriced, and when a set comes out, usually it's cheaper, and you gotta time it right. So buy at retail and then buy when the hype dies down. Best time to buy, not when the hype is skyrocket. Diversity is key. For example, let's use Fusion Strike. Back when Fusion Strike came out, no one cared about it. It was the cheapest set that you could buy for a long time, and now it's one of the most expensive sets in Sword and Shield. No one predicted this, so diversity is key. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Buy every set, buy a bit of everything, because you never know which set is gonna skyrocket. And what I would recommend for investing for sealed would be booster boxes, ETBs, Pokemon Center ETBs, booster bundles, odd collection boxes like the Prismatic figurine collection, which usually have less print runs and worth more in the long run. Protect your sealed with the acrylic cases, which you can find online on eBay. Another tip in investing in sealed is cases. Cases is key. Buy cases. My advice is try and buy a case of every set that comes out. For example, you got the holiday sets like Prismatic. You get a case of ETBs, a case of booster bundles, but be aware that you buy a sealed case and it's not a case that has been opened. And how may you ask to know is when you buy a sealed case, it has the white tape on top of it which says do not open. You just look on the side, you see if it's been cut. If it's been cut and it has the clear tape on it, you clearly know it's been opened and it's not a sealed case. if you want the safest way to Pokemon investing, start with sealed, stay patient, and the most important, don't fall into hype and sell just because something's hyped up within the first 2 years. Drop your own tips in the comments for the newcomers that are coming into Pokemon, and we'll see you in the next one, legends.